Hi, I'm here with Suzanne Oshima, who is the owner and matchmaker. Company is called Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette. And Suzanne, thank you so much for being here with us. Everybody wants to know from the matchmaker's mouth herself. Give us some dating tips when it comes to people being so picky. A lot of the people who signed up for the challenge say their single life is horrible, their dating life is even worse, and they just got out of long-term relationships and they don't even know what to do next.
You know, I run into this all the time with my clients, whether it's male or female. I run into people that are just too picky. And you know, everybody always has a list of their must-haves and their deal breakers.
Deal breaker list, right?
Right, and which is fine. Everybody, you have to have some parameters to work from. But the problem is that you don't want to be so rigid where you close everybody off if they don't meet 100% of what you're looking for on the must-haves and deal breakers. So, what I always tell people is you're lucky, and believe it or not, if you get 75 to 80% of what you're looking for. You have to decide if the person that you're dating is missing maybe one or two things that you're looking for. Is it that important? Like, for example, is it that important that the guy is 6 feet tall? If he's 5'10", is that really going to matter? You know, if he has all the other qualities that you're looking for, let go of that 6 foot marker. And I will tell you, I have a lot of women that say they need a guy that's 6 foot and above.
And I'm sure that when it comes to the ladies, it's also about maybe education level or profession.
Yeah.
I need them to be bankers or you know, certain income level.
Oh, definitely. A lot of women will say, you know, he has to make over 150 grand, which is fine. But again, you're eliminating a lot of great guys that maybe make 125 or maybe even less. But
because they go ahead and not even consider, I mean, they're completely out by that point, right?
Right.
And that's what we're trying to say is open yourself up to that. How can you tell what's okay to put in that 25% category that you should be flexible with and what you shouldn't? Do you think that there's some distinctions there?
Sure. Well, you know, I think there's value systems that people maybe don't want to let go of. But the things that you need to let go of are, and I've had people say this to me, they would only date, you know, blonde women. That's not that important. The hair color is not that important. I know that's maybe what you're more attracted to, but you know, those are certain things that you're really limiting yourself.
And how do you think that how do we think people can distinguish that? Because that to me sounds like that's superficial stuff. That like, child, if you get hit by a bus, that blonde hair is not gonna be there. But if that person was caring and loving to begin with, that won't change.
Right.
Unless there's some neurological damage.
Exactly.
But right, like that's how we should look at that. So when you're getting your deal breaker list, which everyone knows how I feel about deal breakers list, you create it, you get so specific, you create it, you look at it, and then you tear it up and toss it out because to me they don't work. Right? Because you're like you said, you're just eliminating folks. I hear this a lot. I just don't know where to go meet men from the women and the men, which I'm surprised that you said men have the same problem. So what's the advice? What's the takeaway?
Well, so it's funny because as a matchmaker, a lot of people will think that I say go to singles events or, you know, do online dating, which is fine. You can do those things, but actually the tips that I give are more about your lifestyle and interest. And I think that's important because my feeling is if you're doing things that you love, if you meet a guy or a girl when you're out, then great. But if you don't, you're never going to walk away disappointed if you're doing something that you love.
Because you're already in your interest zone.
Right.
Okay, I get that.
Exactly. It's just that when you go to singles events or you put too much pressure on yourself, the problem is that, you know, you start to send off that message of desperation. And whether it's a guy or a girl, the other person can smell it.
So Suzanne, what tips would you give the men on how to meet women and where?
Right. So, you know, men always ask me this question, and I think the best place for men to meet women is yoga class. And some men feel funny about going to yoga class, but I'm telling you, once you get over the fear of going to a yoga class, the thing is you have to go on a routine basis because you can't hit on women right away. They'll know you're there for one purpose. So a guy will always ask me, you know, I'm too afraid to approach a beautiful woman and ask her out. And the thing is that what a lot of guys don't know is that beautiful women don't get approaches as much as they think they do. So,
I've heard that.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
It's very true. And women always tell me, why aren't they approaching me? So I always tell guys, you know, you should take that risk, approach the beautiful woman, right? And ask her out, you know, start a conversation, ask her out, because if you don't ask, the answer will always be no.
Take the risk, and remember, people can smell the desperation on you. No amount of Chanel No. 5 is gonna cover it up. Okay guys, so for the homework today, your assignment is, for those of you that are single, is to think about that 75/25% bucket. What is definitely in that 75% that you will not compromise on, and what's in there that you can throw in that 25% that you'll be like a little bit more flexible. And Suzanne, what's the second part of the homework?
You want to get out there where you're in places that are based on your lifestyle and interests. So it takes away the desperation factor. And if you meet someone, that's great. If you don't, you're never going to walk away disappointed. But you have to get out there because no one's going to come knocking at your door going, is he or she home?
Thanks guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.